Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. We are meeting after a very long time. Uh, Before we begin with anything, let me ask you one simple question. How was your exam overall, first term exam?
Good, sir.
Was good compared to your
Yes, sir.
internal exams. Internal exams were a bit difficult, isn't it? Or no? Internal online exam, I mean. Yes, anybody wants to comment?
नहीं सर ठीक ही था.
Or was it almost similar? Can you hear me, everybody? I'm
Yes,
not
yes, sir.
I'm not very sure because today I have a different system which I'm using for the lecture. As you know, there was a power failure in the institute for a long time, and the internet connection also is down. Okay, so I'm using my own mobile hotspot, and I'm using a laptop. Okay, so we begin with our class in this semester, that is the semester number 2. I'm going to teach you the paper number 7, that is microbial physiology. And if you just want to have a glimpse of the syllabus, then I would show it to you. Okay, can you see this? That is a PDF
Yes, sir.
of the syllabus. And here I'm coming to paper number 7, theory paper 7, that is microbial physiology. And in this particular paper, we have 5 units. First unit is photosynthesis. We have a detailed account of plant photosynthesis, and that is especially used for comparison with the bacterial photosynthesis. So we essentially want to learn what is bacterial photosynthesis, and for comparative account, we are going to also see plant photosynthesis. And then, of course, there are some detailed concepts which are involved in plant photosynthesis. So that also we are going to learn. Then we have the second unit, which is about bacterial respiration. Okay, so here we have both aerobic respiration and we have anaerobic respiration. And then, of course, we have another unit, that is membrane permeation or bacterial permeation, where we are going to study about the structure and the function of bacterial or biomembrane in general. Okay, and that is with particular reference to the transport of nutrients or the transport of excretory products from the biological membranes. Then the fourth unit is about bacterial differentiation, and here we are going to especially focus on bacterial sporulation process. Okay, and the fifth unit is chemolithotrophy and nitrogen metabolism. Okay, so these are the 5 units we are going to study, and of course, probably you are aware that for this particular semester, the time at our disposal it is very less, and therefore we have to cover the syllabus in the shortest possible time. Okay, so before going to any more of that, I would like to directly focus your attention on the first unit, that is bacterial photosynthesis. Okay, I hope everybody is aware about what is this process of photosynthesis. Okay, so would you like to tell me what is photosynthesis?
Yes, sir.
Yes, what is
Yes,
it?
sir.
Can you describe photosynthesis process in general?
Light energy convert into chemical energy.
Okay, light energy or the sunlight coming from light coming from the sun is converted into chemical energy. What is the purpose of that?
Production of food.
For preparation
Synthesis of
food.
Preparation of food. Okay. So this particular
Food.
synthesis actually refers to the production of food using energy which is derived from sunlight. Okay, so your answer is quite right. But what I have written here is a little different thing. I have written here that photosynthesis is the trapping of solar energy in the form of reduced organic compounds. Okay, and these reduced organic compounds are essentially formed from carbon dioxide and water. Okay, and then these reduced compounds, in addition to ATP which is generated, okay, ATP is formed as a byproduct. Okay, both these things, that is the reduced compounds and the ATP, is used for the synthesis of carbohydrates. Okay, that is what we call as the food, and this involves the release of oxygen. Okay, and oxygen, of course, as you know, is essential for all aerobic organisms, including the human beings that respire using oxygen, and therefore we consider that this process of photosynthesis or oxygenic photosynthesis is very important, because it not only provides the food for all the living matter, but it also provides oxygen for the aerobic organisms. Okay, now, of course, this definition which I have written here is not a very complete definition, I would say. And as we proceed further in this particular course, then I would expect you all to make a proper definition of the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so write down at this particular point, I would say that this is your first assignment for this particular course. And the assignment is that I want you all to write the definition, the proper or the complete definition of the process of photosynthesis. Okay, so if you have have a notebook and a pen, then you should write down these points that I'm telling you. Okay, the first assignment for your paper number 7 is to write the proper definition of the process of photosynthesis. Is it clear to you? Okay, and this assignment, yes, I don't want you to complete it in a day or two. This assignment should be completed after this particular unit is over. Okay, after you get a complete understanding of the process of photosynthesis, then you are supposed to write the assignment on what is photosynthesis. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us proceed further. I hope you can see my presentation. So this is a process, it is a biological process which involves the capturing of solar energy, okay? And then this solar energy is converted into the chemical form. But let me correct this particular term. Instead of saying chemical energy, I would like to call it as biochemical energy, okay? Because this happens only in the biological systems, okay? And the molecule that conserves the energy, that is ATP molecule itself, is a biochemical, okay? And therefore I would call this as biochemical form of energy. And this is of course in the form of reduced organic compounds. The energy is stored in reduced organic compound, not only ATP but also other compounds such as the carbohydrates. Okay, now the important thing here that we should know is that the reduced compounds have more electrons. Okay, so more the electrons are present, then we say that more is the energy present in those compounds. Okay, so as you know probably that there are two processes which we study in chemistry. One is called reduction and the other is called oxidation, right? So what is oxidation? Oxidation is the loss of electrons. Okay, and what is reduction? Reduction is the gain of electrons, right? So those compounds which have gained the electrons, they are supposed to be they are called as the reduced compounds. And when they gain the electrons, they are actually gaining energy, or they are actually storing the energy in that particular form. Okay, so photosynthetic organisms, the term photo and synthesis, okay, we can split it into two. One is photo means these are the organisms which can trap the light. Okay, light itself is a form of energy, as you know. Okay, and this light is used for the synthesis of organic molecules. It is used for the synthesis of food material, and therefore we call it as photosynthesis, right? So this is the process by which the organisms use solar energy to form ATP and another compound which is called NADPH or NADH. Okay, if it is a plant cell, then we have NADPH, and if it is bacteria or bacteria, then it is NADH which is formed. Okay, then ATP is a byproduct of the electron transport chain, which again we are going to study in detail at two places. We are going to study this in photosynthesis itself, and we are also going to study it in aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Okay, so ATP is a byproduct of that electron transport chain. Electrons uh, are carried from one electron carrier to the other electron carrier. Ultimately it goes to the final electron acceptor. Okay, and in the process of electron transport, okay, protons are also transported. The protons are transported from one side of the membrane, biological membrane, to the other side. Okay, and that generates what is called as the potential gradient or proton gradient, and that proton gradient ultimately is used for the synthesis of ATP. Okay, and therefore we say that ATP is a byproduct of the electron transport chain, and NADPH or NADH, which is manufactured in the process of photosynthesis, that is in the dark reactions, as we call it, this is itself essential for the synthesis of carbohydrates. Okay, is it clear to everybody?
Yes.
If you have any doubts, then you are free to ask me. You can stop me in between, and you can get your doubts clarified. Okay, because we have lesser time. We are not going to have any extra time to solve your queries. Okay, we may not have any discussion sessions as we had in the last semester. Okay, so whatever doubts you have, you can clarify it during that lecture itself. Okay, then ATP and NADPH or NADH, they are both used as energy sources to make carbohydrates. Okay, and the carbohydrates are essentially made from CO2 and H2O. So in that particular sense, the organisms which are using inorganic source of carbon, okay, these organisms are called as autotrophic organisms. Have you ever heard about this term, autotrophs?
Yes, sir.
Okay, autotrophs and heterotrophs. Okay, so autotrophs are the organisms which can use inorganic molecules as the source of carbon. So as you see here, CO2 is used as the source of carbon by the photosynthetic organisms, and therefore we call them as autotrophic organisms, right? And then simultaneously, as CO2 is taken up for the synthesis of the carbohydrates, oxygen is released into the atmosphere. And therefore, we can write down the equation like this: CO2 plus H2O will give oxygen plus the carbohydrates. Okay, but then it is very much essential to know that the electrons which are used up, okay, which are the electrons which are used for the reduction process, these electrons are actually taken from water molecule. Okay, so water is the donor of electrons, and these electrons are subsequently used for reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates, and in the process oxygen is evolved. Now this oxygen is evolved not from the carbon dioxide, okay, but this oxygen is actually evolved from the water molecule itself. So when water donates the electrons, okay, protons are generated, and in addition to that, oxygen is also generated from the water, and that oxygen is released by these organisms. Okay, so in a nutshell, if I want to show you, then this is a schematic diagram of the process of photosynthesis. Can you see that? Can you all read
Yes,
this
sir.
diagram? Shall I make it a little bigger? Okay. So in this particular process, you can see that the energy is coming from the sun, okay, in the form of the photons or light energy, okay. And then there is a particular step which is called as the light reactions. In the light reactions, water molecule is split up, okay. Water will evolve the electrons which are used for the reduction process, and in the process oxygen is released from water, okay. And then the electrons which are generated, they are used up to manufacture NADPH, which is a reduced molecule. In addition to that, ATP is also generated as a byproduct, okay. NADPH is generated from NADP, right? And then this NADPH as well as the ATP which is generated, they are both used up for the assimilation of carbon, okay. So in other words, carbon dioxide molecule is used up for the synthesis of carbohydrates, and for this synthesis the reduced molecule, that is NADPH as well as ATP, is utilized, okay. So is that diagram clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Based on this diagram also you can start writing the definition of photosynthesis, okay. So if you can take a screenshot of this, or if you can write down the points which I have just told you, then based upon this diagram you can just try to attempt writing the definition of photosynthesis, okay. But then, as I have already told you, that this is not going to be the complete definition. After we complete this particular unit, then you will be in a position to understand everything in a holistic manner, okay, or in a complete sense, and then you are going to write the complete definition of photosynthesis. Okay. The question now is, we are going to we have already seen that water molecule is going to evolve the electrons, okay, and these electrons are going to reduce NADP molecule or NAD molecule, isn't it, to form NADPH or NADH. Now the question is, why at all light is required? What is the role of light? Okay. And for this we must understand that although the electrons are coming from water molecule, okay, water molecule as such is a very poor donor of electrons. What is the meaning of this term, poor donor of electrons?
Sir,
Yes.
means H plus would will not be liberated easily.
Electrons, we are talking about electrons.
Sir, it means water is a poor reducing agent.
It is a poor reducing agent means what?
Low electron donor.
No doubt it has got electrons, no doubt it can give the electrons, okay, but it is a poor electron donor. The meaning of this term is that it cannot give the electrons very easily. Although it has the electrons, it cannot give it very easily, isn't it? How many of you are from the business family?
Sir, me.
Shahid, Shamin,
Yes, sir.
what is your business? बिजनेस क्या है आपका? You're selling some product, isn't it? कोई भी हो product, isn't it? तुम्हारे पेरेंट्स जो है वो कोई बिजनेस में है, isn't it? So in the business you are involved in selling something to the customers. बराबर है? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, yes.
और कौन है अपने क्लास में बिजनेस फैमिली से?
Sir, me, Inamul.
Inamul, okay. So both of you are the sons of businessman. Okay. तो बिजनेस में मेरे को एक बात बोलो कि अगर कोई प्रोडक्ट आपको कस्टमर से पैसा लेना है, isn't it? कस्टमर के पास पैसा है, बराबर है?
जी सर।
लेकिन वो पैसा आपको ऐसे ही दे देंगे क्या फ्री में?
नहीं।
हाँ, पैसा उनके पास है। हाँ, सपोज मैं कस्टमर हूँ, हाँ मेरे पास पैसा है, लेकिन मैं आपको पैसे ऐसे ही दूंगा क्या? Easy? नहीं दूंगा। ओके, मेरे से अगर आपको पैसा लेना है तो आपको मुझे आपका जो भी प्रोडक्ट है आपके पास वो प्रोडक्ट देना पड़ेगा, बराबर है? In the
जी
other
सर।
way round, if I want something from you, okay, you are not going to easily give it to me freely. आप freely मेरे को नहीं देंगे कोई भी चीज़। जो भी आपको बेचना है वो आप मेरे को freely नहीं देंगे, ऐसे ही नहीं देंगे। कब देंगे आप मेरे को? जब मैं आपको उसका पेमेंट दूंगा, आपको कोई मैं पैसे दूंगा उसके, बराबर है? जो भी
Yes, sir.
उसका दाम होगा वो दाम मैं आपको दूंगा, तभी आप मेरे को वो चीज़ देंगे, बराबर है ना? So in a similar fashion, in a similar manner, water is a poor electron donor. इसका मतलब यह है कि water has the electrons, but it will not give away the electrons very easily. Okay, this particular molecule of water must be activated. Okay, and only then it is going to give the electrons. इसके लिए ये जो मैंने कुछ इधर नंबर दिया है, कैन यू सी दैट द स्टैंडर्ड रिडक्शन पोटेंशियल ऑफ वाटर इज प्लस 0.816 वोल्ट। ओके, ये जो वोल्टेज है पोटेंशियल उसका जो दिया है दैट इज रिडक्शन पोटेंशियल, और इट इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड एज द ऑक्सीडेशन रिडक्शन पोटेंशियल। ओके, दैट पोटेंशियल ऑफ वाटर मॉलिक्यूल इज प्लस 0.816 वोल्ट। ओके, एक बात मैं आपको बोलूंगा कि the more is the potential, okay, the higher is the potential, or the more positive the electrode potential, okay, the more you can say the less is the capability of that particular molecule to donate the electron or to give away the electron. Okay, you can just compare that value with NaDH. Okay, NaDH molecule has a electrode potential of minus 0.320 volt. Okay, the more negative the value is, or the lesser the value is, then the more is the probability, or the more is the capacity of that particular molecule, or more is the efficiency of that particular molecule to give away the electrons. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes sir.
Okay, so what I want to tell you is that NaDH molecule can give away the electrons very easily. Okay, it is a good reducing agent. When I say that it is a good reducing agent, it means that it can give away the electrons very easily. Okay, but the electrode potential of H2O molecule is very high. It is 0.816 volt, and therefore this molecule is not able to give the electrons very easily. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to convert that molecule of water into a molecule which can easily give the electrons. Okay, and that particular thing, okay, exactly that is done by light. Okay, so when light falls on the water molecule, okay, then light creates what is called as a good electron donor and good electron acceptor pair, that is called as charge separation. Okay, light energy can create a good electron donor acceptor pair. In other words, what we say is that light can cause the good charge separation. Okay, we are going to see in detail about the charge separation process in a little while later. Okay, but for the time being you can just remember that those molecules which have a higher electrode potential are unable to give the electrons easily, whereas those molecules which have a lower electrode potential or lower oxidation reduction potential, these molecules can give away the electrons very easily. So NaDH can give electrons easily, but water molecule cannot give the electrons easily. But we still want the electron from water molecule. Okay, the electrons are ultimately going to be given to NaDH molecule. Okay, from water the electrons are going to go to the NaDH molecule, and for that we require the energy in the form of light. Okay, now once the electrons are removed from water, then what happens? The electrons will go subsequently through a series of membrane bound electron carriers. Okay, some of the examples I have written here, there are cytochromes, quinones, iron sulfur proteins. So all these different carriers are going to take up the electron from water molecule, and then these electrons are subsequently passed through a series of different electron carriers. And during this process, what happens is protons are pumped across the membrane. Okay, so when electrons are going to the other electron carrier in the process, protons are actually transported to the other side of the membrane, where a proton gradient will be formed, and that proton gradient will ultimately be used up for making the ATP molecule. Is it right? All the details of this
Yes, sir.
process we are going to see little later. Okay. Then coming to the important point about where does the photosynthesis actually take place. Okay, so photosynthesis occurs in the photosynthetic organisms. Okay, for example, there are some photosynthetic bacteria which can carry out photosynthesis. Then there are unicellular eukaryotes, that is algae. Okay, and then there are plants which can carry out photosynthesis. So although in the different organism the processes have some differences, okay, there are some underlying differences, okay, but the basic mechanism of photosynthesis is the same, whether it is algae, whether it is bacteria, or whether it is plant photosynthesis. The basic mechanism of photosynthesis is the same. Okay, but in this particular unit, what we are going to do is we are going to understand what are the differences in the plant photosynthesis, and what are the differences in the bacterial photosynthesis, and what are the similarities in the bacterial and plant photosynthesis. Okay, so if we can find out the comparative account, okay, if we can understand the comparative account of the photosynthesis in the different types of organisms, then we are going to understand the process of photosynthesis in a better way. Is it okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Then the next point is about photosynthesis in plants. Before I begin with this particular slide, I should tell you that there are about 6 to 7 minutes remaining for this presentation. Okay. And at 12 o'clock, you have another lecture. I think Bhukhtar madam is going to engage your second lecture, and that will be followed by Peshwe madam's lecture. And therefore, today I'm not going to extend this particular lecture. And after this meeting is over, maybe if required, we will come again for about 10 minutes more. Otherwise, I will stop the meeting. Okay. So in plant photosynthesis, we have two different processes. One is called as the light reaction, and the other is called as the dark reaction. Okay. Light reaction is the one which essentially requires light. Okay. It requires illumination from the sun. Okay, and for this particular process, there are pigments which are such as chlorophyll pigment, and there are some other accessory pigments also. These pigments absorb light energy from the sun. Okay, and that energy will be ultimately stored in the form of ATP, and it is also used for the reduction of NADH, or NAD or NADP, and that is how we get NADPH or NADH. And in the process, oxygen is evolved, because water molecule is used as the electron donor, and because of that, water molecule is actually split up and into protons and the oxygen molecule. Okay, the other process is called as the dark reaction. It is a misleading term. The reason is that this particular reaction can happen both in light and in the dark. Okay, what is important is that this particular process does not require light, and because it does not require light, it is called as the dark reaction. Okay, now this dark reaction is actually making use of the products of the light reaction. Okay, so whatever is generated in the light reactions, that is the ATP and the NADPH molecules, these molecules are used for the dark reaction to convert CO2 molecule into the carbohydrates. Okay, so CO2 is used for synthesis of carbohydrates such as triose phosphate, starch, and the sucrose molecules. And for this, this particular process requires ATP and NADPH. ATP and NADPH are the two molecules which are already generated in the light reactions. Okay, so the product of one reaction, product of the light reaction, is actually the you can say the raw material for the next reaction, that is the dark reaction. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then the next question is, it is okay that photosynthesis occurs in the plants, but in the plants, where does it actually happen? Okay, so there is a particular organelle. I think you have already studied this in the earlier years. Okay, chloroplast. Chloroplast is the site where the photosynthesis takes place in the plants. Okay, we are not talking about bacteria at the present moment. Okay, both the light reactions and the dark reactions happen in the chloroplast. Okay, so what are chloroplasts? These are membrane bound organelles, intracellular organelles, that is, they're present in the plant cells. Okay, the shape may be variable, but roughly they are spherical in shape or globular in nature. Okay, and the dimension is a few micron. Okay, they are few micron in diameter. Okay, there are two membranes. There is an outer membrane and an inner membrane. Okay, the outer membrane is permeable to small molecules and ions, and the inner membrane is virtually, you can say, not permeable to most of the molecules. Okay, it is a very, you can say, it is a selectively permeable membrane, and it encloses a compartment. Okay, and that compartment itself contains other vesicles or sacs which are membrane bound, and these sacs are called as the thylakoids. Okay, so essentially the thylakoids are present within the chloroplasts. Okay, within the inner membrane of the chloroplast, and these thylakoids are themselves arranged in the form of stacks which are called as grana. Okay, can you see that diagram? I'll enlarge that. Okay, so this is the overall structure of the chloroplast. There is an outer membrane and there is an inner membrane also. I hope you can see that. Okay, inner and outer membrane, and within the inner membrane there are these thylakoids. Okay, the thylakoids are membrane bound sacs, and these sacs are themselves arranged in the form of stacks. Okay, can you see the stacks here? Here. Okay, these stacks of thylakoids are called as the grana. Okay, now these thylakoid membranes, okay, or the membranes of these tiny sacs, okay, these are very important for our understanding of photosynthesis. Okay, these membranes contain the photosynthetic pigments, and they also contain certain enzymes and enzyme complexes, and these enzyme complexes and the photosynthetic pigments are responsible for carrying out the light reactions as well as the ATP synthesis. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then the stroma part. What is the stroma? Stroma is the aqueous phase or the aqueous region which is present in the inner membrane. So this stroma contains the thylakoids, or the stroma contains the grana. Okay, and the stroma also contains certain enzymes, and these enzymes are essentially required for the dark reactions. That is the carbon assimilation reaction. In other words, that is the synthesis of carbohydrates. Is it right?
Yes, sir.
I've just highlighted here the two types of reaction. The light reactions happen in the thylakoid membrane. Okay, just a minute. The light reactions happen in the thylakoid membrane, and the dark reactions happen in the stroma. Okay, what are the light reactions? Can anybody tell me?
Sir, I would like to tell.
Yes.
A synthesis of ATP and NADP by using the CO2 and absorbing